Welcome to the Gamer Museum, where we take you through the long and fascinating history of the gaming industry. Today, allow me to give you a tour through some of the least known aspects about Sony's greatest consoles, the PlayStations.
Oh, when will you write me a tragedy, Will? I could do it.
If Shakespeare were alive today and wrote tragedies about video games,
Daddy, I'm scared.
which is exactly what a millennial Shakespeare would do, he would definitely have written about the fabled Nintendo PlayStation. Seeing as he hasn't dropped anything new since 1623, let me give it a shot. Two companies, both alike in dignity, in the early 90s where we lay our scene. From almost alliance to new rivalry, where Mario meeting Kratos remains unseen. Perhaps the biggest tragedy in gaming history is that we almost saw a world where Nintendo and Sony worked together to forge a new future for the industry. The Nintendo PlayStation was an add-on to the legendary Super Nintendo that was going to have the capability to play games on disc. The partnership ultimately fell through because of egos, backstabbing, and a business decision so stupid that it led to Nintendo straight up creating its biggest rival for decades to come. So, if you're ever angry that Mario will never meet Kratos on the field of battle in Super Smash Bros., blame the failure of the Nintendo PlayStation. The PlayStation 5 just dropped like Sony's prodigal son that somehow looks a lot like White Vision from the last episode of WandaVision. Seriously, I'm surprised he didn't make the PS5 boot up noise when they turned him on. As much hype as the PS5 has, it also has some impossibly big shoes to fill. That's because all of the PlayStation home consoles have crossed into the elite 100 million club. The PlayStation 2 still stands as the most successful console of all time with about 155 million units sold, followed by the PS4 with around 114 million units, and the PS1 with about 102 million. This leaves out the PS3, which is probably mocked at all the PlayStation family reunions for only selling 87 million units. So the pressure is on for the PS5 to live up to the 100 million unit sized expectation on its shoulders. It's projected to sell about 17 million by the end of the year. That's only 83 million to go.
Actually, these PSP games are the business.
While most people will falsely claim that the PS2 and the PS4 are Sony's most successful products, they're all wrong. That's because the PSP has become so ingrained in our lives that we no longer even recognize it as a video game console. The PSP is the single most successful electronic device since the invention of the telephone.
Hello?
I'm sure 90% of you are actually watching this on your PSP right now. No? That's because Ken Kutagari of Sony was a little bit off in his expectations for the device's success. Sony's answer to Nintendo's handheld dynasty of insanely successful pocket consoles may have been a hit, but it was nowhere near the hit Sony expected it to be. With its impressive graphics, multimedia capabilities, and internet connection, this device was aimed not only to be the next Game Boy, but the next Walkman as well. So what happened? In short, everything happened. Increasingly better MP3 players, the popularity of the Nintendo DS, and eventually the rise of the smartphone all killed the dream that the PlayStation Portable would dominate your life. To be fair, no one introduced the PSP while wearing a turtleneck. Never underestimate the power of a turtleneck.
I'd like to introduce you to the iPod.
Do you remember the PlayStation 3 Sixaxis? Of course you don't. That's because Sony has spent secret millions on a vast network of counter-espionage agents trying to wipe out all memory of Sixaxis from everyone in the world. There are agents outside my door right now, but I will not be intimidated. Oh wait, those are my neighbors. Just ignore all that, my bad. The Sixaxis does stand as the ultimate showcase for the PS3's early failures. The controller's motion technology was supposed to revolutionize gaming forever. This was actually just a shoehorned effort to compete against the Wii's fun and intuitive motion controls. Instead of a fun game like Wii Sports, we got frickin' Lair. That's right, the game about flying a fake dragon at Mach speeds into battle that's about as easy to do as flying a real dragon at Mach speeds into battle. You can't really blame Lair though, because the Sixaxis motion controls weren't originally supposed to be in the game. It was a late addition to the PS3 that was pushed heavily on certain games before getting totally abandoned after it ruined said games. Though at least it never gave us anything as horrifying as Boba Fett dancing in Kinect Star Wars, which is somehow more painful than him getting dropped down a Sarlacc pit. If you asked me a week ago who I thought was the Mario-style mascot for PlayStation, I probably would have guessed someone like Kratos or Crash Bandicoot. I would have been wrong. Stupid me of last week, do you not even know who Polygon Man and Toro are? Polygon Man was a short-lived PlayStation mascot for North America. While Nintendo and Sega decided to have cute mascots that would appeal to all ages, Sony went in a different direction. I mean, just look at this guy. He looks like you put Pinhead from Hellraiser and Andros from the original Star Fox into a blender. It's no wonder that upon seeing this monstrosity, he was shelved until he made a surprise appearance in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
I am supreme.
Toro, on the other hand, actually goes way too far in the other direction. Otherwise known as the Sony Cat, this adorable mascot is big in Japan, but has never done well in the West. It's not hard to see why. While I like him, you've got to admit that he makes Hamtaro look like a gritty character by comparison. If you need a mascot for the West, Sony, you've already got one. Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn is all you need. She manages to rock perfect mermaid hair while rolling up on huge mechanized dinosaurs, packing nothing but a bow and arrow. What more do you need?
I will be ready.
Here's a segment I like to call Too Afraid to Ask, where I dive into those fairly obvious mysteries we all should have figured out by now but are too afraid to ask at this point. Like, what is TikTok? And how do I do taxes? Today, I'll be covering something that's vexed me since childhood. Why do the PlayStation controllers have symbols while all the other controllers have letters? Well, apparently Sony wanted to create symbols that would be clear to everyone intuitively. The circle and X buttons clearly mean yes or no. The triangle represents a point of view, and the square is supposed to look like a piece of paper representing the menu. That's all well and good, Teu Goto, but game creators had different ideas. That's why today, circle is crouch, X is jump, triangle is get into a vehicle, and square is no longer a piece of paper so much as it is the righteous fist of justice from Batman. Everyone knows Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot, right? Yeah! These two gaming icons with attitude are probably more responsible for making the original PlayStation a legendary console than any others. Yes, I'm throwing that shade at you, Parappa the Rapper.
Step on the cat, now turn to the right.
These characters are so iconic that it's shocking to discover that both characters were radically redesigned for a Japanese audience.
Crash Bandicoot?
The 90s attitude Crash and Spyro sported wasn't quite as beloved in Japan. The two were given lighter looks to appeal to a Japanese audience. This is similar to the famous redesign of Devil May Cry's Dante in 2012, except while Spyro and Crash's redesigns were for a Japanese audience, Dante's in DMC was for literally no one.
If you know what I mean.
As far as the future of Sony gaming is concerned, I don't want to give too much away. I will say that PlayStation 8 is total garbage though. Wait for PlayStation 8.5. It really makes the zombie apocalypse more manageable. No one said zombie apocalypse.